everybody, and welcome to another week's episode of On That Note Podcast. I'm Brandon.
And I am Calvin. Wow. This is a special episode.
Man. Although we've done.
This is a really special episode. This is our season finale for season 1, Brandon, if you can believe that.
Man, you know? I can't. It's crazy because I was like in community with some other podcasters earlier, and one of them asked, like, am I the only podcaster that like hates the sound of my voice? And I was like, man, hell no. Like, cause I've been toying with like trying to do something like this for so long. Like, I've had people say you should do something like this for so long, but I was like, oh, I hate the sound of my voice on like film and stuff. So, I mean, just from connecting and being like, yo, we need to do something, and you know, you pushing, me pulling, we made something happen, dog.
Yeah,
and I think people kind of like it.
I think so too. As a matter of fact, we have some people here that do like it. So.
Okay, we sure enough do. So I think that y'all may remember a couple of episodes ago I told you about my good girlfriends, Ashley and Ashley.
Yes, we love a call back.
Okay. Well, the Ashleys are here in living color, ladies and gentlemen. So give it up for them at home.
Ow. Hey, yo.
All right, now, I know y'all heard them voices. We're so excited to have sisters with voices here with us.
Yeah, so they're going to be here just kind of helping us through the bullshit, you know.
Because there's plenty of it to go around.
Right.
Hello?
But then also, you know, being here for some of these notes that we have.
Yes.
For this finale.
So this is the most noteworthy
episode. Yeah, absolutely it is. But let's get on into it though.
Yes. So y'all know we usually start off with the While You Were Sleeping segment, and here recently we've been giving y'all some music to go with our While You Were Sleeping. So let us know if y'all feeling that. I hope that y'all are, because it came from audience suggestions. So hopefully y'all liking it. At any rate, this week, Calvin, my While You Were Sleeping comes from somebody that a lot of us know. Pleasure P.
Okay. Yes.
Also known as Marcus Cooper.
Right.
Also known as that singing nigga from Pretty Ricky.
Yes. I think most commonly known.
Okay. Well, so back maybe in like 2010, 2011, I want to say, after he had released his debut solo album. I don't know if you still call it a debut when they only had one.
Yeah.
But
well.
Debut solo, whatever. So after the introduction of Marcus Cooper, he started releasing like a mixtape series called For Your Pleasure.
Okay.
Spelled just about how you think it would be spelled.
I'm assuming numerically and then
lacking,
alphabetically.
I'll say lacking some letters.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It ain't like Wheel of Fortune in real life. You ain't gotta pay for the extra consonant and vowel. Like, you could just use it. So For Your Pleasure. And on volume 1, he uses a lot of hip hop beats, and he's like, you know, singing over them. So I have a lot of favorites on this album, but my absolute favorite is a song that he does over a pretty familiar beat. I ain't gonna tell y'all, cause y'all gonna know it as soon as it come on. But the song is called "It's On You" from the For Your Pleasure mixtape.
Okay, let's hear it.
Did he do that? He did that. Yeah, I could sit here and play that whole song.
I need to listen to that mixtape if the whole thing sounds like that.
The whole thing is bananas. He does a song over "Today Was a Good Day" by Ice Cube. That's one of my favorites.
But no, I love that sample.
And he does one over Biggie too.
Okay.
That's dope. But that sample and the way he did it with that's my joint. Was y'all feeling that?
Mm-hmm. Was.
Okay. And that's I can think of a couple of playlists I need to put that back on. That is on title. Okay. Yeah. But who's your While You Were Sleeping this week?
Okay, so my While You Were Sleeping is since we've been talking about all of these female MCs recently and kind of throughout 2018. There's maybe a lesser known one. Her name is No Name. Oh. At least that's how it's spelled. Oh. So it's N-O. Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
So it's spelled Noname. And she has an album called Room 25. I'm pretty sure she's from Chicago. She's just a really, really dope artist. She kind of is in the same vein like the song that I'm about to play is a song that she has with Smino. So kind of like the vibe type of thing. Okay. But yeah, so if we...
Ready to get it?
Yeah. We can get into it. So the name of the track is, let me look at it. The name of the track is actually Ace by No Name, and then it has Smino and Saba on it. So shout out to them. But alright, Ace. It is, right. So it kind of has that kind of, like I said, kind of like that vibe music that you have. But yeah, that's a really dope track. So check out those two artists, Pleasure P. Well, I mean, I guess y'all should know who Pleasure P is. Check out that mixtape.
Yes.
And then No Name, yeah, While You Were Sleeping.
Dope. All right. Okay. So I think now you're about to
get into some mess.
Always some mess.
This week has just been
just notoriously bad.
Yes.
Lord, let me say.
So our gossip folks for this section, and we're gonna keep it real brief because there was a lot of bullshit this week, but we just pared it down to, I don't know, the shittiest of bullshit.
Okay.
Well, let's start this off on somebody who deserves some recognition. So Janet Jackson this week, the silver lining in a dark world.
Yes.
So she finally gets inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Give her her roses.
And I'm just like, the decades that she should have been and was not even included on that list.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's really insane, but I'm excited for her. It's super dope. Obviously, you know, this is a podcast that loves Janet Jackson. I feel like we mentioned before, just everything about her is just so amazing, and her being able to stand up in her own right in a family of superstars to become her own, you know, especially as a woman in that family.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to her.
Did you know, fun fact, at one point in time, Janet Jackson had the highest paid recording contract in the music industry?
I could believe that.
In like 89 or 90. Yeah, and she actually pushed Michael to go back and renegotiate his contract at Epic.
Yeah.
Just a legend, an icon, talent.
Yeah.
So you starting the next. If I get to kick off the positive shit, I'm kicking the rest of that shit off. Yeah.
Okay. So I know y'all have been watching this troll on Twitter, Miss Kanye Kardashian, has been on Twitter acting a fool yet again. Apparently there were some issues between him and this is like I didn't even care to do the research. Like, I looked at what I looked at on my timeline, and I kept it pushing because he was just tweeting back, and I don't even follow Kanye, so this is all retweets, all people basically retweeting him and being like, go to a doctor. Because he's talking about Drake and how Drake is threatening his family and how he feels disrespected, and then
the
Kim gets
Drake
Kim
views from the 6th Drake.
Aubrey. Kim gets on the internet talking about, you know, leave me and my family alone, me and my man, and all this other bullshit.
This is the first time I think Kim Kardashian had turned a black man down, so kudos to her growth.
But perhaps the most, I think, outlandish thing of all of these things
it gets worse.
That he said, what he says to Drake essentially is that he paved the way for Drake to be the rapper that he is today. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
Kanye West is a legendary rapper and paved the way for the rap game. But there's a difference between that and saying I was responsible for making sure that the lane in your rap career was able to succeed.
But here's the thing about it. Here's why I'm a challenge and push back a little.
Okay.
There's a certain lineage. There's certain different lineages of rappers in my mind.
Okay.
So like it's like different houses. Like you have the house of
Evangelista.
Okay, you know what I mean. So I'm thinking the house of LL Cool J, rappers that you know could like rap hard. You know, kind of like. They're easy to look at because let's not act like a lot of the rappers back in the day were more tough to watch.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying, like they had this certain appeal, they had a large, you know, female following, they could make music about being emotional but still flip and make, you know, like songs and music that was hard or whatever perceived hard. So I'm explaining how I'm like going through this. So this is the house of LL Cool J. Now, I'm not saying Kanye is a direct descendant of that house, but he's there in a room somewhere. And all I'm saying is that Drake was probably in the room adjacent. You know what I mean? Because if you think about Kanye being like this top rapper, top of the game, boom, drops, oh my gosh, the album that came out in 2008. 808s and Heartbreaks. Yeah. Thank you. Woo, yes. Okay, so he drops this album. He's able to be in this very emo state, but still got this bombastic production. Still got like the music is interesting. He still got a little something for everybody on there, but it's really being open. If you ask me, probably a good half of Drake's discography are remnants of 808s and Heartbreaks. Like it's in that same vein. He does a lot of music that way.
In what way? Because beyond the fact that they're singing, I don't.
But even topically, and even some of the just like the mood of the music, the vibe of it. Like I'm just saying, go back and listen to 808s, or even think about like how on albums like Late Registration, you have a song like Roses, or things like that, and it's like talking about these very emotional things. But it's still standing up on an album with like other material that gonna get people hyped. This and the third. I think if you really listen to the two, you listen to their output. I don't think the distance between them is as far as one may initially think.
Maybe.
Now I wouldn't say that he made him because I don't think that that's it. But I can see where he had a huge influence. I mean, the fact that Kanye even produced one of Drake's biggest first songs on his debut album, Find Your Love. That was a Kanye leftover from 808s and Heartbreaks.
True. I just don't. So when I think of someone paving the way for somebody, I think a good comparison would be like a Tupac and a Kendrick. Okay. Like in my mind, Kendrick Lamar is the essence of Tupac Shakur. Okay. In a lot of ways. So I mean, yes, they're both from California. Yes, they're both the kind of like conscientious, popular rappers. But I just feel like the connection is too attenuated between Drake and Kanye. Like I think that I think that Kanye created a sound that perhaps Drake bit off of, but when I think about that, I think of like, and I mean Tupac wasn't able to do this for Kendrick, but like mentorship. You know what I'm saying? Like, what has Kanye, besides producing tracks for him, which everyone does for everyone at some point in time, what has he done?
But that's not always the case, because even think about Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim. Lil Kim, like, clearly set that lane up, created that blueprint that Nicki Minaj has been able to follow throughout her career up until this point. But so to your point of saying like there was no direct mentorship, now we don't know that Lil Kim and Nicki Minaj were going off of high tea at noon, but you know what I'm saying, we know that clearly she was able to say, oh, she did that and that and that very well, and that's what was the key to her success, so let me grab that. Because if you think about it, like, that who was really one of the dominant rappers of the time around like that point in time where Drake was really starting to put out mixtapes and stuff like that? Kanye was. So there's definitely some influence there. Again, I don't think it's as direct as people would initially think, but I think if you really think about it, like, there's definitely some clear influence.
Influence, sure. I just don't think that Kanye is to Drake what Kim was to Nicki or what Tupac was to Kendrick. I don't think the connection is there. In that way. And I think that if not that, it would have to be like a mentorship thing. That's what I meant. Like, if it's not a super direct influence, then it's gonna have to be like, you put me on. That's the only way in my mind he was gonna be able to say something like that to Drake. But I mean, I do see your point.
Yeah, because if you give somebody a whole sound, you are in essence putting them on.
I'm just not giving him that. And we might just disagree, but I'm just not
quick to give Kanye Omari West too much in the year 2018. And I'm not saying that I necessarily 100% agree with that. I'm just saying I'm not quick to dismiss it, because I think that there is some validity to Kanye kind of laid out some foundation for Drake to build a sturdy house upon.
Okay. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think I'm wrong either.
No,
but I think that there's some sort of...
I think we're a Venn diagram.
Yes. And right there in that point somewhere, yes, is where the truth lies.
Okay. But that ain't even the biggest of bullshit.
Right. It's not. It's really,
and
really
I
not.
know that we do not. So I'm going to go ahead and sit while you get into the foolishness.
So Cardi B was married at one point to this man.
Wait, they allow you to marry animals?
Oh, don't.
Like dogs?
A dog.
And I was rooting for you. We were all motherfucking rooting for you.
How dare you?
How
dare you? Learn from this. So Offset.
Go for it.
And we were talking about them this last week. We brought them up and we said that they were broken up. You know, like, we knew it was maybe gonna be a little bit of the public bullshit in the meantime. But last night, so Rolling Loud, which is like, I would say the biggest hip hop like music festival probably that there is. I don't know of one that is bigger than that as far as big names.
Strictly hip hop?
Right, strictly hip hop.
Okay.
So Rolling Loud.
It was just hip hop at Rolling Loud.
I think so.
Okay.
So with Rolling Loud, they do a spring one that's on this side. I'm pretty sure it's in Miami. And then they just did one last night. I think it was Friday and Saturday in LA. So Cardi was the headliner for this performance. And she is getting ready to perform She Bad. You know the song she got with YG.
Now that's one of my favorites on the album.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
But apparently it's one of Offset's favorites too, because he decided right before she was getting ready to perform, you see, and this is all video clips, so you see these people dragging this like message across the stage that says like Cardi is on one, like please take me back is on another one, some bullshit like that. So just like Cardi, please take me back or something like that. And so she sees that, you see Cardi see that roll out, and she's kind of looking like, what is going on? And then this nigga Offset comes on stage in the middle of her performance and like the music cuts out, and even the screens, like the big screens that they have, shut off, and you see him. What he says is, he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry, bro." This is what he says to his wife, or now wife,
sorry,
and the mother of his children. "I'm sorry, bro."
Did he renege on the space hand?
I don't.
Did he, blow all the ones before they went to the strip club? Like, I'm sorry, bro.
I'm sorry, bro.
That's some shit you say to one of your niggas. Like, that ain't nothing you say to
your wife, the mother of your child. So he says that, and he's like, hopefully you can take me back. He got her some flowers or whatever bullshit, but Cardi was not having it. You could see in her face, like, she was just like flabbergasted. That's a funny word, but like she was just like, yes, she was just like upset, like, and she's trying to essentially. So, real quick, I'm gonna put this to bed right now. A lot of people are saying this was staged. A lot of people were saying this was a publicity stunt or whatever. If you notice, when Offset is talking to Cardi and she is responding, she's not using her microphone. She doesn't want the audience to know what she's saying because she didn't know this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, if this was a publicity stunt, they would have been doing this back and forth, whoop-de-whoop, arguing and all this stuff on the microphone. She had no idea he was coming, and she was not happy about it. And you could see in her body language, you could see in the way she was talking to him, you could see all of that. And it's just...
There's so many reasons why there's so much wrong with this. Like, let's think about this for a second. You are allowing a man that is in an active disagreement, an active separation with his significant other. You allowed him on stage to have that close of proximity to her.
Right.
Now, we ain't never known Lord
Offset.
Bless her.
Yeah.
We ain't never known Offset to catch no murder charge. I don't know about assault. But we ain't never known him to catch nothing like that. But we don't know what the nigga capable of because we've honestly heard of like much weirder things happening. Let's add to that the added layer and context of the fact that Cardi B, as a result of her increased like fame and even some of her public spats with certain other people, she's actively had her life threatened. So you're letting somebody like that has had death threats against them, like, standing on this stage that she ain't never performed in front of an audience that size in that venue at this appointed time. Like, this is a very new experience. You let somebody in the midst of that, you're bringing somebody out that they're at odds with to a woman that has had her life threatened? Are you fucking kidding me? When I tell you everybody that had a hand in that even knew about the shit that ain't say nothing to me, when I tell you I would have all of their asses so tied up in some shit that they couldn't even wipe it.
And that's the thing.
My
and
gosh.
When you say you let, what I'm saying, the you that we're talking about, apparently there were people on her team that knew. So
fired.
Somebody's getting fired. But then also there is, so Rolling Loud, before Cardi B even got on the stage, they tweet out this bullshit ass tweet that's essentially just like, no matter what happens tonight, Cardi's set will be epic. And then they deleted it. So, but there are already screenshots, you know what I'm saying? Call your lawyers and all that stuff. Get lawyers up. Exactly. Because if they were complicit in that, that's you're essentially creating a hostile work environment. Cardi B was at her job. She was at work. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like to have she's just like, it really, I was tweeting about this all morning. I was upset, like, because it happened, of course, because of the time difference. It happened like in the middle of the night or something like that. So I saw people talking about it and sending videos on Twitter. And then I woke up and was upset again. Like, I woke up upset at this situation because, yes, it's dangerous. It's extremely disrespectful. Like, it's embarrassing to Cardi because she's just, again, trying to do her job. Like, and she made this video afterwards where she's talking about, part of what she's talking about is people not going after, Offset and not being mad at him, not, like making him feel bad because, I don't know, I guess he's going through a rough time and that's the mother or the father of her child, which I do understand from her perspective and her perspective only.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him that. I'm gonna let Cardi give him that, but I'm not gonna give him that. And then
it fucking happened.
But even beyond that, like she was saying how that whole day, like her sound wasn't working. Somebody, like 2 people didn't show up, you know, to work for the production or whatever. Like she was super tired. It was the second day of the festival. So she was just like, I was just trying to go out there and do the best I could do with what I had been given me. And what had been given to me. And it's just like
about right for Cardi. You know, that's my girl, but you know her English, you know. And I ain't shaming her for it,
but you know, to be going through all that, and it's like I'm just working my way through this set, and then that's not like.
And then this set shows up.
Put yourself in her shoes, because it's not like we're seeing it from the outside. We're seeing, you know, like I guess her reaction to it, but imagine being in a space where you're, you know, I think Reagan Gomez, shout out to her, she tweeted something about like being at your job at a presentation, or you know, if you were at your graduation from school, like anything like that, any moment that is your moment, having a nigga you don't want to talk to anyway coming at you with some bullshit like that, like what were you expecting to happen? Did you think I was gonna be, oh, thanks for the flowers, cool, I'll see you at home? Like,
but here's the thing about it, the bar, it's a couple of things, but the 2 quickest things that come to mind. One, the bar has been set so low for people to truly express, and by people, I'm saying men, and it's just gonna be what the fuck it is. Y'all know I don't fucking bite my tongue, and the way I feel about it is the way I feel about it. But the bar's been set so low for these men to do like the least little public display of anything, and it's like, oh my God, he must love her. No matter how many things have been done behind the scenes, and in this case, in front of the public fucking eye, it's just like, well, he did, you know, put on Instagram that he missed her. I mean, he ain't dropped the album yet, so he must really mean it. Oh, he bought flowers and shit out there. Man, that boy love that girl. Get back with him, girl. No. And we don't realize how fucking toxic that is, because so many of us have either been party or witness to a dysfunctional relationship. We've encouraged people to remain in dysfunctional situations. We're creating a dysfunctional situation for somebody, and that shit has happened so much. Our views on love and what constitutes real love is so fucking warped that we would sit there and try to make this woman take this man back when we don't know what. Imagine the shit that must be happening behind the scenes.
Right. If this is what's happening in public. And
come on.
People talking about, you know, preserving the black family. People are so willing to go to bat for like ideals, you know what I'm saying, and like institutions when it's somebody else's bullshit.
But only ideals when it makes the woman seem as though she's the one that's like holding it back. Because yes, preserve the black family. Well, that nigga should have thought about that before he went out and started putting his dick in, you know, in random people.
Trying to create multiple black families.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so why is it now her responsibility to fucking dust up what he done did and just take him back because, you know, he want to be a family now? No, these women and nobody else, women, men, whomever, ain't nobody gotta wait for no fucking body else to get their shit together to say that I'm gonna be with you. Because if somebody wants to be with you, if they're really about you and they're really about creating something healthy and sustainable, then they're not gonna put you in a position where you gotta dismiss their ass in the first fucking place. Stop running back to people that ain't about shit, that ain't gonna be about shit, and that's been putting you through fucking hell. No, and don't let nobody around you that's gonna encourage you to be in no shit like that.
Right.
I would cut all them bitches off if anybody that told me to go back with this nigga, no, fuck that.
Right.
I don't fuck with you no more.
Right.
Because that's like somebody like telling you, yeah, go jump off that cliff because it's gonna be fun.
Pick the pipe back up.
Yes. Like, you don't need people around you like that. It's enough shit, I'm sure. She has a young child with this man. There's a calling to be with your baby's father. You grew up with both of your parents. There's a calling to be with your baby's father and your husband. So there's enough things that she has to contend with that would make her naturally probably want to sway back in that direction. But people actively encouraging that,
no.
And people that's supposed to care about her well-being. But here's the thing about it. I'm going to give you a little bit of grace to be a little dumb because you're really in the situation and sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. But hot damn it, when you're outside the situation, you can see the 360. There ain't no fucking reason why you're encouraging somebody to go back to some bullshit.
Well, let's talk about who is encouraging her. It's the same niggas. It's 50 Cent. It's fucking, who else was it? It was, you said, who was it?
The Game.
Right, The Game. Like, it was
T.I.
all of these T.I. Right.
Trash.
The day I go to tip Harris for some fucking marriage counseling.
I'm sorry we even brought him up last episode.
So, it's just all of these, these niggas supporting other niggas, and not for the sake of anything positive,
and not ever calling these other niggas out or saying, yo, young blood. See, you just went through a very public same situation with your wife, okay? So why not be like, yo, I hit set, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to talk to the brother, like, tell him don't lose out on that good woman, try to rap to him a little bit. You over here telling her to go back to him. Right. No, fucking talk to him.
Right.
Because that's what needs to happen.
And you should have talked to him before. As soon as that family became a black family, if you're really going to support some shit, because everybody wants to support some shit when it's to keep it from falling apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, let's protect the black family. Were you caring whether or not they were successful and productive and healthy black family before the situation went down? When he cheated the first time? When he cheated the second time? Like, what are we talking about, dog? I'm just so tired of people excusing men for behavior and expecting for the women in their lives to just excuse that behavior for them too.
Like, no. Don't
Cheers to that.
Shit, no, stop that.
And
and it's bigger than them.
It is.
Like, that was some fucked up shit, but it's bigger than them.
Which is why I hope, like, if there is any justice in the universe, Cardi B will never take that man back. And the lesson that he will have to deal with for the rest of his life is when you do some fucked up shit, there are consequences to your fucking actions. He never needs to touch her again. Okay. And that's how you learn. That's how, and none of these niggas learn because they're constantly being coddled and enabled and shit. I'm like, no, you need to learn a fucking lesson. You need to make sure that the next woman you get will never be on Cardi's level. You need to make sure that every single relationship, you are constantly looking for Cardi B in every single woman because you knew what you had and you lost it.
Because her stardom is going to continue to get bigger.
Right. And where are you going to be?
Away from that. All right, y'all. So we've both safely climbed down from our soapboxes and we are now going to get into the noteworthy segment of the finale.
I'm so excited. This is going to be so fun.
It's going to be so much fun. So we asked, and y'all delivered.
Yes.
We asked for a bunch of notes because we want to just have a good conversation with the audience for this last episode. Yes. So we're going to be going through a number of questions. And I think that they're going to be good. I think y'all going to like them.
I think so.
Okay. So I'm going to kick it off. The first one is coming from Courtney. And
Courtney.
Courtney, I think Courtney has showed us some love before.
She has.
Okay. So Courtney says, I totally disagree. Excuse me, at all caps. Okay. All right, Courtney, let me take that love back. But I totally disagree with your opinion of Aaliyah. Oh, she must be talking. Is she talking about both of us? Yeah. OMG, I am truly a big fan of Aaliyah, and she was more than just a dancing combo. If we want to talk about the dance factor, Beyonce's dance skills definitely were not always what they are now. Okay, I give you that. Because them other heifers was holding her back. Don't play. Y'all know I love LaToya, LaTavia, and Kelly. If we want to talk about the dance factor, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. When Destiny's Child collectively and Beyonce as a solo first came on the music scene, they did the basic two-step dances. They did, girl. I think Miss Tina was choreographing for them back then, too. Let's keep it a stat. Their vocals and visuals were good, but all of that hid the fact that they weren't great dancers. As Beyonce matured in her career, that's when you started to see more advanced dancing in her videos, okay? As far as Aaliyah, she was always a dancer and had great choreography. Okay, we're gonna get into that. I found myself always under her choreography to videos like Try Again, Are You That Somebody, More Than a Woman, and We Need a Resolution, to name a few. As far as Aaliyah's singing, she was an amazing singer. Her vocals had range and you could hear a lot of it in At Your Best. Well, Courtney.
The thing is, I don't disagree with that opinion. Well, let me be careful in my words. Well, I do disagree with the opinion of the dance-sing combo because I'm not sure what else she could have. Well, I don't know if we called her that.
I don't think we reduced it to
that. But at the same time, well,
succinct.
No, and I don't. Maybe the opinion was that she would not have been as popular as perhaps people think that she would have been. Maybe that's the opinion that Courtney disagrees with.
But no, because we didn't say that.
Yeah.
I think the question was around would Beyonce have been as big as she is.
True. Well, the original question was Sierra, but we brought up Beyonce because I said a lot of people.
Yes. And I don't think we slighted Aaliyah in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I just. Again, and I think that where we well, let me just say this because where I landed was I don't know, and that was the thing. But I think when I from what I remember, what I landed on was I kind of want to know the answer to that question too because we don't know. We don't know whether or not Aaliyah would have improved or any of that. But what do you have to say?
Okay, I was trying to fact check something right quick
because Courtney is my
No, I love me some Courtney already, honey. I just wanted to make sure that I walked Courtney through memory lane. So all the songs that she named, Try Again, Are You That Somebody More Than a Woman, We Need a Resolution. All of those videos were filmed within maybe a 3-year time span, right? Yeah. Between the Dr. Dolittle soundtrack, One in a Million album, and the self-titled album. Okay, so let's get into Aaliyah when she first came on the scene. If we're talking about advancing and maturing in your dancing, because if you go back to the AJ Number the Number video, Mama is giving you a walk, two, dip,
little hood,
walk, two, dip. Okay, and let's get into back and forth. Back and forth. Yeah. I've always appreciated this for giving us accessible dances. But this dance ingenue, she was not. Hey, we gonna tell the truth. Let's tell the truth.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
I just want to make sure that we are understanding because sometimes
and that was all of those were latter in her career.
Right.
We Need a Resolution was the last video that she shot.
No, More Than a Woman. Rock the Boat was, but More Than a Woman came out after. Yeah. But so let's, and that's the thing because I think that a lot of times, and to be fair, we've had a lot more of Beyonce's career to be able to follow, reflect on than we ever will get of Aaliyah. So it is going to be that halo effect to a degree of remembering her as being popping, locking, singing, da 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 da. But Aaliyah did what she did, and she did it damn well, and she inspired a lot of these young girls out here. But at the same time, I think that Aaliyah was going to take some very strategic and different directions with her music moving forward, because she knew that in terms of how things were moving in the industry, vocally, not necessarily being able to compete with all the girls.
And so we can talk about the vocals and Ashley Bass because they're good vocals, but they are not strong vocals.
All right.
So she does have range, and by range,
we all have range.
No, by range I mean she could get from one low note to a high note. You know what I'm saying? There were some I won't give them whistle tones. But there were some high notes in Ashley Bass.
Better not. That's a lot.
I'll give and I think that Aaliyah also had a very airy voice, which wasn't bad. Right. But she didn't really have a strong voice, and the way that I would think a very stellar vocalist, I wouldn't give her that.
Yeah, no. And I think, for me to close my piece about this out, I think that one thing that Aaliyah had that, a lot of us really, really remember her for that probably overtook her music and other things like that was Aaliyah had this big air of mystery. Mm-hmm. She had this very cool, elusive nature, and it really worked for her. Yep. And I think that persona has really grown to be larger than life to a degree. Yeah. So, Courtney, we love you, sis, but we had to push back and challenge you a bit. So thank you for that question. All right, so now let's get into a question from...
Well, she did ask us another good question that I maybe... She asked us how we met, and I feel like I want to answer that question.
Oh my God,
because some people might not know that.
This is true.
I think maybe a good amount of people wouldn't know that. But So, and
I'm can't wait to hear your take on this.
So, I'll start with the superficial first. So, superficially, we went to the same college.
Yeah.
We were in the same fraternity. We were in the same chapter.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I guess, if you're explaining it the easy way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is how we got to each other. But the thing is, we weren't in school at the same time. You know, by the time you had graduated, I was getting there. You know, we weren't too far behind.
No.
But I think, so from what I remember, at a fresh 18 years old, oh my God.
Wow. Oh my God. The fact that you are about to have a birthday.
I know, exactly. But at a fresh 18, there were people that were just constantly telling me, like, you know, like, oh my God, there's this guy that maybe you remind me of, or y'all are just so much alike. You're both, you know, from the same hometown. Y'all are both super smart, you know, like all of these other things that I think tie us.
Oh my gosh.
Tie us
They
together.
were talking about me.
Shut up. And so they were. And so, I mean, I guess for that reason, we've kind of always been like unofficial specials, I guess you could say that. Like, I just think we've always seen it for each other.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I don't know. I mean, just kind of throughout the years, we have just maintained, you know, real friendship and connection and brotherhood, I would say, even outside of like fraternity. Because again, I just feel like that's so, like, that is not, you're right, that is not at all the way that the last thing I would want to say in describing you is like, oh, that's my fraternity.
Exactly.
That's frat. Because that just seems so, as a person, I think you have to be aware of, like, maybe just what you want out of your next situation. I think that's super important, you know, because a lot of times if you have dated someone for so long and then you jump into something too quickly, it's like, okay, well, you just miss that feeling of being with somebody.
Yeah.
You just, you know, and you're not really with them for the right. Exactly. And that's what I support, honestly.
Yeah.
But, and it's not just because I'm, you know, I'm saying like hashtag forever single, but like, I really do support this movement of just like, if you need that time to be to yourself. If you're a person that's kind of constantly in and out of relationships and haven't spent very much time with yourself, you need that time, you know, because it's hard for you to know yourself or successfully be with someone and not lose yourself in relationships if you don't even know who the person is that you're bringing into the relationship. So yeah, I would just say go for what you know. Just be aware of all of those things, and being intentional about, I don't know, just keeping your wits about you, not getting caught up, you know what I'm saying, not getting whatever kind of whipped you getting. But yeah.
Okay. I like it. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to another question coming from Kim. Hey Kim. Okay, Kim got a couple of questions. I'm gonna start with this one.
Okay.
Who is still on your must-see concert list?
Yeah.
It's a two-part question, so let's answer that first. Who is still on your must-see concert list?
Janelle Monáe.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta go.
I know.
You gotta go.
Yeah, I'm just banking on the fact that the latter will be greater than the last, and her next album will be
between this and Part and Parcel.
Will be, I know.
Go away.
Will be even better.
Yeah.
Than Dirty Computer, which will, I mean, not to say that I just love it so much right now that I can't see anything else being better, but that absolutely does not mean that it will not be, you know?
Because in 2013, we got Beyonce.
Right.
In 2016, we got Lemonade.
And there it is. But yeah, definitely Janelle Monáe is on that list. I've seen most of the other people that I would have wanted to see in concert, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm really hyped about answering this question because I am going to get to check this person off in like 2 weeks. Anita Baker.
Oh my God.
Anita Baker has been on my concert must-see list. And I mean, because when you hear about like a legend like that, and like I love me some Anita Baker, okay? Like when you hear that somebody like that is about to retire and they're not going to be touring no more, it's like, oh goodness, like a lot of times we think that we got forever with these artists and we really don't. Sometimes they want to sit it on down.
Right.
So I just bought my ticket last night. I'm going to see her on the 28th.
I saw her this summer. It's a great show.
Oh my! Literally everything that could have gotten in my way of going to see her before, even when she's been super close. Yeah. I have not been able to go, so I'm super hyped. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, she's in Vegas right now. What? So word from the audience. Thank you, sir. Oh, so apparently she's in Vegas right now. You know, she was in Vegas at the end of August, beginning of September, and I really was like about to go. Residency, get out. Do you think is she gonna still be doing that into next year? You think?
I don't think she started yet. I think she's still doing her local city tour right now.
Oh, and then she's
gonna start a Vegas residency.
That's how to do it.
But we hope that she gets her hair curled when she's done.
Okay.
You just knew you was going to do that.
She been shaded
all day. Lord.
Auntie Anita, I had no part in that. I love you down.
Sabotage.
I promise. I'm not bringing her with me to the concert because she been acting up.
But no, that's exciting. I can't wait for, and from the looks of it, this may go into my second question.
Okay.
But, I hope and pray one day Beyonce is gonna have her own residency in Vegas, and you know that I can't wait to be somebody's old uncle.
They're gonna build
my life.
They're gonna build their own venue.
Right. The Beyonce at the Beyonce Center.
Okay, and what we need
Beyonce presents Beyonce.
And if we're gonna see Ruby and Sir Carter and Blue Ivy, they're gonna be opening up. I love it.
Exactly.
But what's the next part of the question was, what was your favorite concert, and then who was a disappointment?
And you know what's so crazy? They're both the same person, and it's both Beyonce, and it was both this year. So I know.
Get into it.
Y'all listen up, y'all. Buckle up. So I had the honor, the distinct pleasure of going to see Beyonce at Coachella this year. It was, in a word,
shit, that was this year.
Life-changing. It's been a long year.
Right.
When I tell you, I got, when you talk about being given life, you know what I'm saying? People like to say that jokingly,
Yeah.
But it's just just a few highlights about myself and the way that I connected to the Coachella performance was in marching band, middle school, high school, would have been in college if I had gone to a HBCU, because my marching band was very much high stepping black band style, I was on the drum line, so I was on the drum line before the movie Drumline came out, so I'm true to this, so but so that aspect of it, the whole HBCU thing, which even having not gone to a HBCU, we all grew up on in some way, shape, or form. All of my,
it's so many where we're
parents,
too.
Aunts, uncles, all of them, went to HBCUs, all of that stuff. So it's something that I was very familiar with. And then also, just being in that moment was a very personal moment, and for no other reason than the white biddies around me didn't understand what was going on. And so it had to be a moment for me where I was just I'm not going to get my life from anybody else in this crowd. I'm just going to have to go for what I know. So and then also musically, right? Because it's just I know these deep cuts. Y'all are kind of standing around checking your phone every now and then.
The girls don't say my name at a different beat.
Right.
Okay. The girls ain't know that.
When she did Kitty Cat, you know what I'm saying?
Listen.
But I got diamonds on my,
diamonds on my records.
615 coming down riding Lexus. How you gonna neglect this? You was just a hot mess.
Oh.
Ain't nobody know what was going on. So I had to have that experience for myself, and I'm so glad that I did, and that I was able to be there, to be in the number, if you will. But later on in the summer, I ended up going to On the Run 2. And let me just preface this by saying, I have seen, before On the Run 2, I had seen Beyonce 3 times. I saw her at the first On the Run. I saw her at Formation, and I saw her at Coachella. And what disappointed me most about On the Run 2 was that it felt like a Mod Podge of all three of those. I was like, oh, I've seen this concert before because I saw all three concerts that came before this one. And maybe that was just my fault for being too much of a stan. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I just know too much about her at this point where like all of these like commercial shows are just like, I've seen, like, I know this choreo, like I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up, Ashley? Like, I know everything that's going on, you know? And it just, to me, the other thing was all three of those were so different. Like the first On the Run, Formation, and Coachella were all very different performances and all very iconic in their own right. Yeah. And something about the performance just felt like maybe a little disingenuous, you know? Like maybe like, it honestly kind of felt like a cash grab. Like it honestly kind of felt like,
it felt like Beyonce should have called into work that day and she just went ahead and decided to go anyway. Yeah. Cause you went in DC, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, and even beyond that, like musically, like the music choice that they chose, were very similar to the songs they did at the first On the Run. Like you have the same opening, the same closing, and I'm like, which was why I'm like, maybe this is my fault. Maybe this On the Run thing isn't like a continuation of a story, and it's just like, come to the one that you can get to make it to. You know, like if you didn't get to On the Run, right? If you didn't get to the first On the Run, come to this second one, because if not, like 2 to me implies like there was going to be a switch up of things, and it's like they both came out with. So here's what I expected.
Go for it.
Because the first On the Run, if you all remember, was 2014. That was before Lemonade. That was before 444. That was before y'all knew what Jay-Z was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like the ones that knew. But as far as the world, you know what I'm saying?
And people forgot that they both released albums in 2013. He came out with Magna Carta Holy Grail. Right. Where he was talking about, I always tell people the song Jay-Z Blue. Right. Was foreshadowing. Yes. What came from.
And let's talk about the beginning of Mine. You know? And because I was shook when I heard that the first time. Because she, you know, that was before she liked to tell us things. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. You're not feeling like yourself since the baby? Oh, are y'all gonna make it? Right.
And then, for added context, right before On the Run went, in about May of 2014, we had Elevator Gate.
Yes.
Yes. 2-piece and a biscuit.
You're so right. And so
I done my homework.
So, but all of that maybe comes before what we would expect in a first On the Run. Yeah. But now that Lemonade is released, now that 444 is released, now that publicly we have made, or you all have made this announcement to the world, this is what's happening with us, this is what's been happening with us, I was expecting for them to bring it for On the Run 2. Yeah. Like, I was expecting for them to be like, and then, you know, they dropped Everything Is Love. So that's 3 albums that they, and at least for our show, they barely pulled from. They did 8 shit.
They barely performed it. They didn't really perform that
as they rolled the credits. Yeah. We didn't get Nice. We didn't get, you know, all that stuff. We didn't get all that.
I was so tight. I was so tight because I was like, oh my, okay.
And so I'm just like, and with the visual, because the visuals were very much influenced from the Everything Is Love and all this stuff. I thought they were gonna tell a story.
Visuals were bomb. They were in Jamaica for like 2 fucking weeks.
But it didn't seem to match up. Like the visuals didn't seem to match up with what they were doing, and it just was like, y'all had this opportunity to tell this wonderful landscape of a story based on this music that y'all have created.
If they just would have performed that album,
right? But even beyond, maybe not, because they, like, you needed that Lemonade and you needed that 444.
We needed.
But that wasn't. It wasn't Lemonade forward. It wasn't 444 forward. They were pulling from old stuff, and I was just like, first of all, why are we still coming out to Magna Carta Holy Grail? Like, that was cute for when that album came out. But who saw it for the song so much that y'all had to come through again and bring that to us for the intro?
Twice.
You know?
Twice.
And so, it's just, and it really hurts my heart. But I think that it's very telling when I'm going this hard, you know, on a Beyonce performance. And I think what it really truly is I know what she can do. I know what she is capable of. And for me,
you saw it like 2 months before.
For me, On the Run 2 was not the best that she could do. At least not the show that we saw.
I agree. I'm gonna have to. Ooh, Lord, I never thought this day would come,
Yes.
and I know a lot of people have something to say. You never talk down on Beyonce. But here's the day. I left that concert very like. I don't feel good about it.
So was yours the same too?
It was.
You're disappointed?
Yes, that was highly disappointing. So I hadn't seen Beyonce since the Mrs. Carter. Not Miss Carter. Formation.
Oh, I was about to say that's interesting.
No, hell no. I was at Formation.
Oh no, hell no.
Okay, listen. You know I had to go see my good girl. So no, and did you see Formation?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
That was probably her best show. Just if you're thinking about like how she mixed songs in, like how she had the whole like production.
I'll see that in Rising Coachella, but Formation was good.
Up to Coachella.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can't speak to Coachella as much because I wasn't there. But through the TV, that joint pulled me in.
But like the best, what was the best of like what she had done before? Absolutely.
Right. And if you think about like, in terms of constant touring as opposed to like a 1 or 2 off show, like a Coachella, like she really delivered and was delivering every night with that Formation World Tour.
Yes.
I got to this show and I was just like, okay, so Beyonce is not giving me her usual She's giving me a
Yeah.
You know, she's giving me a boom, not a boom cat.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, but maybe it's just like this is a part of the narrative that's gonna build up. And I was waiting for energy that never came.
Yeah.
And so I understand the queen gets tired sometimes, you know. And she really did, to be quite honest and quite fair about it, she carried that first one.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, maybe she said, I'm gonna just sit back and let him do his thing.
I could very much see On the Run
Jay-Z
being in a situation
because
where
Jay-Z actually carried it.
Right. I
Which
think
is
that
surprising.
Jay rolled over in the bed and was like, hey, AOB, like, you want to go on tour again? And she was like, all right. That was a horrible Jay-Z impersonation.
No, that Jay-Z joint was spot on. Not so much. But that Jay-Z joint was lit. I didn't even go, boy, get away. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, well, this was a disappointment. I knew in the corners of my mind there was something else I was reaching for, but I couldn't quite find it. Okay, I agree with everything you said about On the Road too.
Yes.
But when I say what takes the cake is that fucking No Limit reunion at Essence Festival 2017. Oh Lord, thank you for sending me that thought before we finish this.
Yeah.
That shit was ass.
Oh my God.
That shit was ass.
Oh my God.
When I
In
tell
what way?
you, oh my gosh, Calvin, like legit. They would, like Master P would perform a song, dead silence. Narrative, the next person come out.
But now by narrative, what do you mean?
Master P flapping his gums about how No Limit started. I'm like, damn, you gave me better on the Solange interlude. Like, legit, Calvin, when I say that shit was some hood, ghetto, country, backwoods,
Bama.
like
all of it.
Bama.
And we can say all of this.
Type of shit. Exactly. and usually I go up for all of those things in conjunction. But that was, you ask anybody, you can even see tweets from celebrities about it. That shit was ass. That No Limit reunion, baby, oh my God. I cannot even believe it took me so long. That was ass.
Yeah.
That was the worst, hands down the worst.
Okay.
The worst.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
Lord.
And that's bad for another reason that one went to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just expecting greatness and maybe being a little disappointed. But
no,
that's
that shit
like
was
ratchet.
bad. It was
like,
just poorly produced from top to bottom.
Wow.
My bad. Woo, Lord.
Yeah.
So let me be quick about my favorite then.
Yeah.
My favorite concert, and this is hard because I love a lot of the people I've been able to see live. But I'm going to go with a concert I saw this year, and it was actually Janelle Monáe.
Okay, yeah.
And I think, actually, I might have said that. I don't know that was, you know, I said
Rub
another
that
episode, so I'll give another one. Usher at the Roots Picnic in 2016.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you why that was great, because you had Usher performing with Roots accompaniment, and just the way that they did some of his songs, the way he sung on "Coming to Break You Off," and he sung the hook on "You Got Me."
Ooh.
Yeah, that was amazing. I might have video of that somewhere I can dig up.
This is a random question, but kind of going with what you and I were just talking about, because you talked about Essence, I talked about Coachella. Would you say that Essence is like the Black Coachella. Would you say that maybe?
Well,
or
I would
if
say
not,
Coachella
what
is the less Black essence.
Okay, sure. I like that better. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Because I guess what I was getting at was the fact that Coachella is just like the thing to do music festival wise, and just for us, like for us specifically. For sure. Which festival is that? But you think it's Essence?
Essence for sure, for sure. But I do think that if you can't do New Orleans in the summertime because it is rather sweltering, you should look at the Roots Picnic because that's probably my other favorite music festival I've been to. I could never go back to Made in America, but Essence, Essence and Roots Picnic were both amazing. Okay, so let's get into some other questions. Do we want to? I feel like it's too early for that.
We can do another one if you want. From the same person.
Okay, so
I guess
too early for that, and it's too early for that.
Oh, okay, all right.
That was what I was talking about.
Okay, well let's do. So we had a question about our guilty pleasure genre of music, or like which maybe I don't have a genre, but I do have a person. That's my guilty pleasure.
Do I know about this already?
Probably.
Okay.
You want me to go first? While you think about that? So my guilty pleasure artist to listen to is Cupcake.
What a spin!
I love
Cupcake. Give it to the girl.
Yes.
Yes.
It's low key. Well, the girl has bars too. She has bars.
She gonna be performing here soon.
Don't do that.
I'm tired.
I can't see myself. Oh, Lord, imagine that crowd.
Do we really have to imagine? Just drop that for you right there.
But yeah, I would absolutely say, for those of y'all who don't know Cupcake, she is, talk about why you were sleeping, all right?
Shout out to BG, because that's how I know about Cupcake.
Oh,
shout out
how
to
do
BG.
I don't even know. I think somebody in law school introduced, like a white girl, introduced me to Cupcake.
You know, she does have a surprisingly big white fan base.
Because the thing is, she's so raunchy. It's the same thing with why white women watch Lifetime movies. It's like the thrill. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like it was for someone who doesn't have a very exciting life. Like you have to listen to music and you have to consume media that is super exciting all the time.
Go away from me.
I'm serious.
For some of them. But what I was gonna say though is if you want to see a hilarious video, so there's this YouTube channel I think called FBE, and they do a series of videos where it's like elders react.
Yeah.
And they have one called Elders React to Cupcake.
Yeah, I think I watched it. Yeah.
I love. And then she has one where she's watching their reactions. That's gold as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so a couple of hot tracks for y'all to listen to. If you don't know who Cupcake
Hot in the ass tracks. Okay.
So there's a song called Duck Duck Goose you can listen to. I think that's the only safe song that I can name because the rest of the
LGBT.
Oh.
But wait, when you see me, I'm rolling with the LGBT. I said I appreciate her song of allyship.
Yeah, absolutely. Try out Duck Duck Goose. That's a good one to start with, and then there's one that starts with a D, but that I will not tell you about. That's more popular. Deep. Is the first half of the song.
So, I think this is where we part ways. I'm going to be a little tamer. My guilty pleasure music, I will say, is pop music. But this is where it gets guilty pleasure. Mm-hmm. There are some Taylor Swift songs that I absolutely fucking love. And I never thought that I would sit on God's green earth or put something on Al Gore's internet that would say that there are Taylor Swift songs that I like, but the people ask, and I don't know any way to be but real. Yeah. But when I tell you that songs like Wildest Dreams, or
yeah,
whatchamacallit, We're Never Ever Getting Back Together. I was singing that yesterday.
Musically, I would put her in the same category. Well, I guess musically juxtaposed with like my attitude towards them, as Kanye. It's like I can bang with some of your old stuff. You know, I can bang with some of your old stuff, but I refuse to even listen to what you got going on now because I just cannot stand you as a person.
Yeah.
So
that 1989 album was kind of lit, though. I ain't gonna hold you to it.
Right.
Now I ain't gonna ever give her too many streams or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But you know, Mama comes with a cut, and she can write a song. Blank Space.
Yeah. We'll give that to her. We will give that to her.
Yeah.
We will give that to her.
And that is it. And that is all. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so now I really want to get into this question.
Okay.
Sonically, of the 7 albums that Kanye produced from Good Music, which one was the best?
I'm not going to be able to answer this question because I didn't listen to all of them.
I didn't listen to all of them either. I listened to Daytona, Tiana, Nas.
What are all of them? I think maybe I only listened to Tiana Taylor's.
So Tiana Taylor, Nas, Kanye, or Ye, Kid See Ghost, Kid Cudi. Was it really 7 albums?
Yeah, because you didn't say Daytona.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it must be one more.
I don't know. I can confidently say that I only listen to Tiana Taylor's. I because you know I had to support her, you know, and I didn't have to support anybody else, and I wasn't going to because of the man behind the music. So.
But King Push from VA.
Yeah, but slavery wasn't a choice. So. You know, it's a lot of niggas from Virginia, and that ain't nothing to Pusha T. I love Pusha T, but you know, if we talking teams,
very rarely ever. So I would just say that's it, and that's all. Yeah. The one that I repeated was Tiana Taylor's. I thought Nas's was pretty decent.
Yeah. And I heard that, and I heard and 100% believe that Daytona was good.
Yeah, Daytona was good too. Like the 3 I listened to were good.
Yeah.
I think that Tiana, though, unfortunately, even though it's the one I play the most, it's the one that sounds the most underproduced or the most finished. It really is. It really is. And like I keep secretly hoping that she re-releases it.
But do something else.
It's time. I don't understand why sis been late with them videos, but I ain't gonna put too much on her.
Yeah.
That's my boo. But come on, run us that Work That Pussy video. Okay. So we're going to transition to a question from over here.
Okay. So this is from Cole, right?
Yes. I should have thought about it before.
No, it's okay because I think Cole has another question too.
Yes.
So we can do that one.
Do you want to do that one? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I don't know if it's so much of a question, but we're gonna let Cole get some things off of Cole's chest, and then we're gonna
respond to what has come off of his chest.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into
So the subject line says, "Your fave can't rap." Period. Okay. Yep, there yours showing up again.
All right.
Hey y'all. So sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who feels this way, but I'm gonna ask y'all about it anyway. Today's rappers, using quotes, are mostly mediocre as hell, yet they soar to the top of the charts with boring lyrics we can barely understand and shitty over auto-tune vocals. And I feel like I know why people are out here standing for the artists, calling them talented and legendary and throwing their asses to them in the clubs. But what they're really fucking with is the beat, okay?
Wait, okay, yeah.
So I get, so far it's like y'all are going up for these people, but it's not really the artist, it's the beat,
Okay, all right, yeah.
So not the whack ass rapper, all right. That credit doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the producers, the DJ Mustards, Mike Will Made's, Pharrell's, etc. These niggas are the ones making these ugly dudes stars, and frankly, I'm sick of it. Like, you can't tell me you think Jay and Common and Andre are amazing rappers and iconic and legendary, but in the same breath say how much you fuck with mumbling ass Future and Sway Lee and Trippie Redd and clown ass Tekashi and Yachty, or however.
Go in.
I'm weird.
You sound like Barbie dreams.
It sounded like the song that Barbie Dreams tried to do.
Right.
I feel like to get still 0 Grammy nominations.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like to get a truly amazing artist and you get a dope ass lyricist and hook them up with dope ass producers, right? I mean, I see niggas in rap battles on YouTube with better flow than these SoundCloud overnight success stories. Like, okay.
All right.
We did start on SoundCloud, and
It's okay.
You know,
It's
I don't. But I
we
feel
not
like
rapping though.
we are excluded from this
I
combo.
think hopefully so.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is annoying. They all look. They all look like their balls stink. My balls are sweating. They don't call their mothers, and hoes are out here having whole babies with them. All right, Cole. I legitimately don't get it, and I'm worried about the future of rap. Honestly, I need it to make sense, y'all. Signed, millennial with fucking says.
Oh yeah.
It better known as Cole.
Yeah.
Giving it up.
Well, you know, Cole. I don't know if I can make it make sense. I don't know if it makes sense for someone to say, you know, I love, or you know what I'm saying, like Jay is legendary, Kanye, or Kendrick is legendary, or something like that. And then in the same breath be like, oh yeah, and also Lil Uzi Vert and XS Temptation or whatever.
You ain't even
so that's because both of those things just aren't true. You know, maybe you can like them for different reasons, but I think to Cole's point, it is the producers. You like the music. You know, you like the songs that you're dancing to. You don't necessarily care what they're saying or who's saying it, because a lot of the stuff sounds very, very similar. Like you could really interchange. The thing about the legends, you couldn't interchange, and even if we're talking today, you couldn't interchange a Cole track for a Kendrick track. You couldn't put like, oh, Kendrick just rap this Cole verse. You know what I'm saying? Because he not here. Whereas you could do that with some of these little trippy, Uzi, Gumby.
All their names sound the same.
Yeah. So, and like, you could put any of them essentially on each other's songs and it wouldn't make that much of a difference because there's not that much difference between them as artists, you know, and their artistry. I will say, as far as the future, I'm not worried because people like Kendrick and Cole and, you know, whoever else still exist and are, you know, like, the ones on the chart. When they do come on the charts, they're top on the charts, you know. But it's just, I don't know, for whatever reason people see. And I mean, I'm sure maybe D4L and them Franchise Boys made it up on the charts a couple of times.
Okay.
And nobody checking for them for their lyricism.
We sure were.
But
we was leaning with it, rocking with it.
Right.
I mean, and that's the thing about it that I think that I often have to remind myself, right, is perspective, Brandon. Like, there's always going to be waves and movements within music, and specifically hip-hop, because it's such a young genre overall. There's always going to be movements that see certain things fly into popularity, but then there's always going to also always be like a mainstay, consistent, running, like, list of revered people, right? So it's like, at this point, I don't really get too caught up in the fact that, oh, like, you got the little whatevers or the whole YBN crew,
yeah.
which that's just a whole other level of fuck shit. But, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't get too caught up in the fact that those people are having a moment, because these people are also coming up in the social media age.
Right.
And what they are doing very well is learning how to market themselves and learning who their audience is and playing directly to their audience, which I do think is something to be learned from that for even like more established, more prolific artists. Now, with that being said, just like various forms of social media, is anyone still using Vine? Is anybody about to be using Tumblr?
Or Snapchat.
Come on. So it's like things fall into fashion, things go out of fashion. And so I think that a number of these young people, we're going to see have their moment. They'll make a couple of $1 million maybe. Hopefully they invest it right so that they don't go broke. You know, you could have told me a couple of years ago that...
What you talking about, 21 Savage?
Or Young Berg, or like people like that was going to be.
Maybe, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think people have found ways to.
But Young Berg is still like actively doing things.
Right, but like, how many of us knew that? You know, how many of us thought that we came on the scene?
Okay, I'm talking about spending money.
So,
yeah.
Right, but you know, right. I get that point too. But like, I think that, you know, these young people are gonna have a moment, and then it's gonna ebb and flow, and then because there's already like an undertone of like people wanting real music back. You're really seeing that happen a lot on the R&B side, and as we know, R&B and rap are so intertwined and intermingled at this point that the genres are going to continue to push each other and pull each other in certain directions.
You're right. I mean, think about somebody like a Young Thug, maybe.
Exactly.
Just 2 years ago, he was all over the radio. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you might hear him here and there.
Exactly. But he's like you said, that moment, a moment.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So let it be what it's going to be. And we going to continue bumping real shit over here. And on that note. And on that note. Let's see. Jump to another question. Oh. This is a pretty maybe quick fun one to ask.
Okay.
Why did you decide to do seasons instead of a just straight podcast?
Okay. Yeah.
You want me to
No, yeah, you
okay.
can. And
okay.
I can supplement.
Okay.
If you would like.
So when we first started talking about doing the podcast, we both realized that we're both super, super busy. And we initially had set out with the goal of recording like at least every other week and releasing like on a bi-weekly schedule. And with that, we said, okay, if we're not going to be recording every week, and that was something that we knew at the outset. We had tried, of course, the first couple episodes to give y'all a, weekly, just to get established and get some content out there. But the beauty of doing it as a season is that until we announce that the season is over,
right?
You can assume that something else is coming.
That's so real.
You know what I mean? It leaves a little bit of room there. So, just something for y'all to know moving forward. Like, it may not be on an every week thing just because of life, both our lives and our careers and everything else doesn't allow us to connect to give you this every week. And I mean, some of y'all know, we tried to get y'all to Instagram Live. It was cute. Yeah. Maybe something that can be done here and there, but we wouldn't want to give y'all that on a every episode basis. Yeah. So this allows us to again have room and flexibility to say, hey, we're giving y'all content. It's gonna all connect. Don't worry about it. Stay on the journey with us. It may not always be linear, but we're gonna get to the destination.
And I'm gonna maybe help us out a little bit, because I think that in addition to that, like, yes, it was true. Yes, like, we wanted to make sure that the content that we were putting out was quality content, even if that meant that it wasn't weekly. But then also another thing that we're doing with these seasons is the themes, Exactly. And so we're keeping, I think that the way that, I think that in life, people just operate through seasons, and it's easier maybe for people to digest things if it's like, this is a clean break and this is when we're starting again. It's like, that's the reason why television is set up that way. It's just like all that other stuff. So it's just like, it gives you a moment to kind of like digest what you're digesting in the moment. Exactly. But then also like what we're doing is themes. Part of what we're doing is like theme. Like, we're doing like season 1 is this and season 2 might look like this, and then inside of it, like, we've created, just by circumstance of doing the podcast, like things like Battle of the Bands, which we could bring back, every season. Exactly. Or, like last week when we were doing like Hustles and Flows, like we might do episodes like a season 3, like Hustles and Flows, like we might be talking about somebody else. Exactly. Like it just, just go with us. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
There's a method to the madness.
Exactly.
And I think that, that is in large part, kind of a mix of those two things, or a multiplicity of things, is why we decided to do it with seasons,
Absolutely. So, thank you for that question.
Yes. Sound like a pageant queen. Thank you so much for that question.
Yes. Did we have any questions from the live studio audience at this point?
Oh, that's true. Y'all, any questions?
I feel like Beyonce at the podium after they try to Any questions? Actually, could we all please stand for our national anthem? Then after she killed it, any questions? Yeah. I stand.
I guess one question. In the discussion of Jacquees.
Okay, well, just go in. Okay.
I mean, Brandy, you already know how the fuck I feel about that.
I do, sis. I do.
You know, as I always say, that is why you need to invest in the music program at public schools, because that is what happens when you do not. And I'm going to just leave that on that. But in the discussion of who is the king of R&B, who do y'all feel would adequately answer that question?
Yes, that's a great yes.
It is.
And thank you for that question. Thank you so much.
And the setup was it?
Right. I think as soon as those words left his mouth, we were all clear that was not true. And so what we attempted to do was to find the actual person that was the king of R&B. It was like a question, like I'm the king of R&B. It was more like a question was posed to society. Like, now that we know that that's not true, let's try to figure out what the truth is.
Let's
you know,
toward
what
this
is the
additional
truth?
great
You know?
mystery. All together now.
Yes. So I think,
I'm gonna let you go through it first.
and I think what we're gonna have to do is say for this generation.
Okay.
Because I would be hard pressed to think of given just how R&B has changed throughout the course of, unless you feel comfortable answering that question. I don't know if I feel comfortable answering that question.
I think that everybody will have their own criteria that they apply to that question until we sit down and say, okay, here's what we're basing it on. Boom, boom, boom. So
that's real hard to do. Yeah. I've tried to do that a lot. Everybody has their own criteria.
I know.
But
what is yours? So, that's what the audience wants to know.
Let me give you my answer. Again, this is for this generation.
You qualifying this a lot.
That's because I am
not
about
say
to.
Nobody like Lil Duval.
Lil Duval.
That Negro song, one hook, and now club everybody booking them. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
No shade.
Okay. The person that I know. I'm not gonna like this coming out. It's almost like word vomit. Like this is uncomfortable coming out. But the person that I'm going to say for this generation is the king of R&B is Chris Brown.
Oh, I don't hate that answer.
Okay.
That was much better than what we were.
How little do you think of me?
Listen, you said that up like you ever seen those little clips on Instagram where it's like somebody say something that everybody like, wait, like all that stuff just starts happening and people are like, and then like the reveal.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was about to be an R. Kelly.
Oh no!
And I was like, not that.
I wasn't taking it that far.
Okay.
But still, I would say bad enough. I just, so the thing about Christopher is, I think I maybe have a different connection because of where we're from. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, that's that nigga Chris to me, honestly. And like, I say that because just from what I understand of that young man's character, and I'm not talking about Rihanna, that was a long ass time ago. I think that since then, there have just been some ebbs and flows that I haven't necessarily been comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And this is more of the personal than the music, but for me, those are kind of intertwined. It would be hard for me to crown someone queen that I don't feel behaves in the way that royalty should.
I see what you did there.
So, when we're talking about talent, Chris can sing. And like Chris can sing and he can sing.
He delivers.
And he can also dance his ass off. And he has a sound, which I think is super important. And it's not necessarily what is, popular. It's not giving you that trap that I hate. Yeah. It's not, he has it,
He has the output that would put him at least in the conversation.
Right. I mean, he would have to be in the conversation.
Yeah,
for
sure.
And also when you're talking about a king, you're talking about, because there are a lot of R&B male artists that have just come out that I really like. I really like Daniel Caesar. You know what I'm saying? I really like Tone Stith, who I just found out a month ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like those people musically at the very least. But they're new. I can't give you that, with one album or the same thing with, because a lot of people feel like Frank Ocean should be a part of the conversation. And
say who?
Some people.
Point them out.
I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to check Twitter for that, because
Twitter stay on some bullshit.
It's just like And I understand
To be
why
the king
people
of R&B,
feel.
you gotta actually sing.
Don't. I think that for Frank Ocean, people just. I think what happened with Channel Orange was I'm gonna use your word, there was a dearth for a really long time, and I think that he delivered in a way that felt very like people just really latched onto, and because he like disappeared for a while, it was kind of like a legendary thing, like, oh my god,
kind of like Lauryn Hill.
he kind of right, exactly, he kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Miseducation does.
Yeah.
But
so yes. So but I don't like. Again, we're talking about like the king. Well, yeah.
okay,
I don't
right.
think that Frank Ocean can't sing.
I don't think that he can. But when I think about male vocalists, and particularly male R&B, here's how I'm going to enter this conversation.
Yeah.
We have to think about when we were tossing around the moniker King of R&B, like when Whitney Houston called Bobby Brown the King of R&B, let's really think about that for a second, because you think about somebody that had like a proven track record in the industry from youth to adulthood.
Right.
And really, like, he might have only put out like 3 solo albums, but he probably could still eat off of the Don't Be Cruel album.
Right.
Like, let's be clear, that album did numbers.
Right.
He was giving you vocals.
Mm-hmm.
He was giving you range in terms of the songs. He was giving you, like, did I say dancing? Like, he was
hot.
You know
Let's
what I'm
not
saying?
be confused.
Like,
even though you know he is what he is right now, when he was like in his prime,
he was on.
Yeah.
When he was on, he was on.
Yes.
And so, like, if we're gonna talk about a king of R&B, for me, and being a music fan, it's always gonna start at the music.
Yes.
What is your output?
Yeah.
And is it quality?
Yeah.
Is there consistency to it? So when I think about like kings of R&B, and I don't know that anyone rises to the top, a la a Beyonce, a la Michael in his prime, and even then you still have Michael and Prince. It was never like, with men, it's always harder to make it a soul person.
Okay.
So in that conversation, for me, if I'm thinking about purely R&B, because even and this is just the only little like demerit against Chris Brown is, if we're talking about like that R&B rooted in soul, rooted in blues, rooted in like, you know, just that feeling, that music like that, I have to talk about people like Joe. I have to talk about people like you know, even Love My Hate. I have to talk about people like a Donnell Jones. Like, you have to talk about people that like were giving you music and giving you output and giving you lyrics and giving you songs, and their goodness was not just seen in their works, but also in their collaborations with other people. And I mean, it's just even like a Maxwell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does he fit in? D'Angelo.
Yeah. But even okay,
you know,
yes.
And
but we're talking of, I think what we're talking about is contemporaries. And those are our contemporaries, maybe.
Right.
But we're talking about right now in 2018.
But see, here's the thing about it. If you're a king of something, you're a king of it, and your stuff is going to hold up. And like I said, Chris Brown can be in the conversation, but like, and I'm saying this, I'm talking about you because I want you to know we're not disagreeing.
No, I don't think we are.
But like, I think that the problem was that Jacquees tried to make it a singular field when it's never been that, and it never will be that. Because even Whitney Houston calling Bobby Brown the king of R&B, it's still like people that was out when Bobby Brown was popping, like Alexander O'Neal, who may be a king of R&B to some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, other people that were, I mean, Babyface ain't too much of a vocalist to me either, but like, even I guess you could consider him in the running, like in terms of like track record and music. So that's never been like a singular thing.
I just don't think that we're answering the same question. I think that you are answering the question of like, who are maybe the kings of R&B full stop. Chris Brown was my answer for a person who is still relevant today, who is still making music, who could say like, in this contemporary age, I am running it right now. That was my answer, and I don't think like in that way, like I wouldn't include like the Joes and the Maxwells and all that other stuff, because their output right now isn't giving, like, none of those people are in their prime right now, and that's why I'm answering the question the way that I'm answering it. I don't think Chris Brown would be my answer.
So the question, but the reason I'm answering the question in the way I am is because, again, I think the question your answer is moot. I don't think that
So
you
you
can
can't
say
answer
that
that
there's a king of R&B, right? Like my argument is that that's never been really a thing. Like,
okay,
you know,
so you're saying
Jackson
that there
was
is no
called-
answer.
Right.
Okay.
So to get real abstract with the
Yeah.
girls, but there also, I think that if we're talking about, if we say, okay, so we want to like forget that completely. If we want to take the people that are doing R&B
Right.
and stuff like that, to an R&B purist, Chris
None of
Brown
this
isn't
is
gonna
R&B.
come up in
Yeah,
the conversation.
Exactly.
So
Because none of this is R&B. But that's
Right.
what I'm like. So let me try to narrow this down in a way that maybe we can pin something down.
okay,
Who is the best person singing music that is most synonymous to R&B contemporarily right now? Who is the best person at doing that right now?
oh good lord, oh that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard question. Because I even think about people like whenever, I know you're gonna be like, but these people aren't like mainstream or da. But like whenever like, you know, Xavier Omar drops something, I need to listen through it. Whenever
No, I'm not. Yeah, I mean because I like my boy Tone a lot. You know,
Right.
and he's not mainstream, and I'm not. But
like Black or Sir or
yeah, right.
Which
But I think
Bo
all of them.
James.
But I think those are the people that we need to like. If we're talking about contemporaries, those are the people that we need to be
Yeah,
talking
for
about.
for sure.
So
But I
and
can't
maybe
pick
so
one
you
out
can't
of
pick.
them.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
fair.
I'm gonna be real, but I'm gonna tell you who I know
Yeah.
the fuck ain't.
Yeah.
Jacquees.
Yeah. Ever for now or yesterday or tomorrow or
And not even on a leap year.
Yeah. Maybe not even on his birthday.
No.
Yeah.
Even on your birthday, you won't be the king.
Yeah. Damn.
How you feel? So,
Yeah.
I like where we arrived at on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see here. Are we ready for some of the
Deeper dives.
Yeah.
Oh, and I know that we have another audience question too.
Okay.
So we can transition to where you're going.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
So we can. We just answered that question. That King of R&B question.
Yeah, that came up a couple of times this
Yes,
week.
exactly. But okay, so here's another one. So this one is from Eli. Eli says, so there's this person that I'm talking to, and he lives states away. All right. We've known each other for about 2.5 years, and we just decided to have a liaison. All right, come on, liaison. On a special day 2 weeks ago.
That's what we call it. Yeah.
Right.
I can't stand you educated.
Eli says we're both feeling each other, and I could see us moving further, and I think that he does too. So much so that he's already starting to use terms of endearment and throwing things out like "let's grow together." How would you ensure that we keep this up so that something long term could happen if that was meant to be? And even better, how do you know that a relationship is meant to be? You know, this question just pulls at the heartstrings to me because what I get from this is that Eli is, you know, just a fresh young gay. And the reason why I love that is because it's just, we know that Eli is a man, and he said he. And that's not even shade.
That's true.
I'm just talking about that.
I know, it was just the packaging of it all.
The reason why that, but here's why I'm taking it there. Because maybe perhaps in my, and I'm not even that old, but just in my maturity in this game, I've become a little bit like jaded. Or just, what's the word I'm looking for? Just skeptical is another word.
Yeah,
just
very.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think all of it's suspicious. Just non-trusting. And so I don't know, it just really warms my heart to see a young man like, I really like somebody and I think that he likes me too, and we want to make this work, so how should we? You know?
Right.
Like, that's just super sweet in a way that maybe I haven't heard in a really, really long time. So shout out to you, Eli.
I know.
In this budding situation. So as far as the questions.
I was about to say, you going
Yeah, no, I am. But he said, you know, how could they make something long-term happen if it was meant to be? So from what it sounds like, he says they've known each other for 2.5 years. He says that, you know, they're both kind of, I mean, obviously they're traveling state lines to see each other because somebody went somewhere if they had a liaison.
But it was on a special day, so maybe they were just meeting up in the same city anyway. So, oh no.
I mean, who's to say really? But
enjoy.
Even beyond that, it's just like there seems to be a willingness there to make it work.
To connect.
And I think that, where long-term relationships or long-distance relationships become difficult is when you start together and then have to separate. I think that's when it's perhaps the most difficult. Really? I think that it's hard. I think that it's hard when you start. I have a different take on that. Okay, I think that it's hard when you start separately, but then I think also part of that is like that's what you're used. Like there has been no point in time where you were used to being together and like up under each other and constantly in each other's space, and then you can't do that anymore. You know. And so maybe in that way it's a little bit more difficult because it feels like almost feels like something is taken away as opposed to like not ever really having something that maybe you want. But I don't know. I think that there just has to be, if you want to make it work, there just has to be a will to say like, if I want this to be my person, and I mean you might not know that yet. It still seems very new, but like if this is going to be my person, like I don't need to worry about not trusting. I don't need to worry about what he's doing or whatever is going on the backside of it because I know that we're both working at this thing. And if you're not getting any evidence to the contrary, you know, I say go for it. He also says, how do you know when a relationship, or how do you know if a relationship is meant to be? Meant to be is hard. I think that it's hard. I think I think that you know when something is working, perhaps. I think if the communication is there, well, maybe you know when something's not working. I think that's easier to say. I don't know. I think that, and maybe that's just because I'm an intuitive person. But most times it's like, I don't know, I feel like most people are able to read and feel energies, but maybe not. No. Maybe not.
And it's even harder when you're at a distance.
Possibly. I think that's true. I think that that's very true. I mean, I guess my answer is there's no way to know that it's meant to be. You just kind of have to trust. You kind of have to go jump that cliff with that person. In no relationship are you going to be safe. And by that, I mean, like, Lord have mercy. By that, I just mean, like, there's no 100% security in any relationship, I would say. More than that, there's always risk. There's always a risk in a relationship. You're always going to have to choose to be vulnerable, which, Eli, it might sound like that is something that maybe you're struggling with. Yeah. You're going to have to be open, honest. I'll tell you what's not going to work. Playing games. And that's what a lot of kids these days are doing. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of saving face, for the sake of not being the one that got hurt, for the sake of not being the one that looks stupid. You know, a lot of people, you know, out here, especially some of us in our community, are just playing around, you know, so that they're not the one that's like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't really take you seriously anyway. Right. The only way that this is going to work is if you take them seriously. And if you say, you know what, maybe I'll play games with people that have shown me signs that games need to be played. But, you know, if you're talking about growing together, then growing means real growth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you got to come out of some of those toxic, for lack of better words, behaviors if you're really going to grow with somebody.
I mean, well, I think that the only thing I want to add to it is, one, how to ensure that you all keep this up. I think that honestly, there's still some like, I don't know if it's ambivalence, but there's still some like kind of like teetering around things in this message or in this email. So I think that really, Eli, your first thing has to be, one, deciding what it is that you want, deciding if that person is going to be able to give it to you, but then also checking in with him and seeing what he wants and if he thinks that you're the person that can provide that to him. Like, at this point, being on the other side of 30, when I'm on a date with someone, you know, like, we you and I will have that conversation. Like,
Right.
you know, well, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And you answer
and you take it
honestly.
from there.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
And what are you
that
looking for with that person? 'Cause that can vary,
Exactly. And so I think that it's just a matter of, you know, at a certain point, it became too comfortable or too easy for us to just retreat back into like confusion and this constant state of ambiguity instead of just being able to open up our mouths and say to one another, do we want to be together?
Yes.
Like, how are we gonna make it happen? Boom. I do think that distance creates other things, but if y'all have been able to build up trust, then hopefully it won't interfere. But you know, just realistically, sometimes out of sight, out of mind, and that has a whole other layer of complex issues with it. So you just have to be mindful of whether or not, like, do you, in the way that you like to be loved, in the way that you like to be supported and you know, interacted with, is a distance situation going to work for you? Is that sustainable? So you need to ask yourself. He needs to do some self-inventory and then have some conversation. And I think also just the how do you know that a relationship is meant to be? I think that again, just very idealistic. Like, you know, and a lot of us are when it comes to love, and that's partially because we're socialized to be that way. But I also think that we do owe it to ourselves or anybody that we're with to really, instead of like talk about what should be or what may be, let's talk about what it is and what we're willing to make it.
Yeah. One thing that I will say, to kind of wrap this up, when you were talking, I was thinking about, because communication is just so important for any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a partnership, you know, it's just like you have to be open and honest about what is going on with you when it is going on with you. Because otherwise signals can get crossed. And that's just, I am huge, like, I'm huge on communication, and I can't function without it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that it's so very, and I think more than that, it's just like when communication doesn't happen, you just always see it go wrong. But one thing that I will say, if you're comfortable enough with doing, and this might be maybe a couple weeks or a month down the road, both of y'all should probably take like the love languages test. So there's a test. I mean, and honestly, like, because what you were talking about was essentially learning how each of them needs to be loved. You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that they may not even realize about themselves right now.
And so taking that so that you know that for yourself, because it shows you how you give love and then also how you receive love. So one, do that for yourself. You know, just kind of take that inventory, you know, like lovelanguages.com maybe is the website. But do that just to figure out how you are loved, you know what I'm saying, and how you give love in return. And then maybe if you feel comfortable enough with this person, have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I've been told about how I give love. How do you take it? You know, how do I need to love you, essentially? Or how do I need to, if it's not love yet, which it doesn't sound like, how do I need to make this work? How do I need to communicate my, at least at the very least, affection, endearment, which is the term that you used, Eli, for you, in a way that you will comfortably receive it, you know? And so I don't know, I'm really rooting for y'all, and I really hope that you stay optimistic. I think that the fact that you wrote in this letter means that this is something that you care about, and this is a person that you care about. So Eli, and you know, maybe Eli's boo, if you're listening as well, you know, y'all do what y'all need to do to figure out what's gonna go on.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so now I think we have like another audience question.
Yeah.
So let's toss it to our audience.
Hi.
Hey.
So I wanted to ask about not the King of R&B thing, even though his name came up in it, Usher.
Okay.
Haven't quite seen a rebound from Usher ever since STD Gate.
Okay.
Call it that.
Ooh, okay.
And so what do you all think it would take for people who've been disgraced, whether rightfully or wrongfully? So like the Chris Browns, the Ushers, the people who've been put in negative media situations. What do you think it would take for them to make a full sort of rebound?
Wow, I love that you asked this question.
Yeah, because it kind of goes to like, maybe like Kevin Hart also. Is that what? Yeah, okay. So Yeah.
I was also thinking I love it because it's full circle, right? Because Usher was our very first artist.
He was. Yeah, he was.
So, wow. So, you know, when I think about that, and this is why I put on my PR hat, that was my major in college. And so sometimes I still, like, low-key PR people's career or wish that I could.
I mean, you got the degree for it.
You're right. But so, I think the first thing that a lot of these people need to do actually is really get a good media team around them. Because point blank period, the rule of crisis management is to not allow too much time to pass before you make a statement. And you got to make sure that first statement is locked tight, is, you know, secure. You're really like getting, like, putting something out there that's going to not downplay the situation if it's serious, but not, you know what I'm saying, be accusatory of someone else. Like, you really gotta have good communications people around you. A lot of celebrities and entertainers and people with a bit of status think that it's about having, you know, somebody to watch their money, somebody to do that. No, in addition to having like a airtight, like, financial team, your communications people are probably your second most, really your first, because if your communications and your brand isn't on point, you won't be pulling in no money for nobody else to go and count and invest. So I really think that a lot of those people really need better communications people around them. And I honestly think that with Usher, I mean, something like that STD like whole situation is tough, right? Because it's also caused by just our societal stigmatizing of like different, you know, health conditions and really, I think there were implications for sexual identity in there as well. Because most people just heard that a man accused Usher, but most people didn't take the time to find out that the man wasn't saying that he had sexual relations with Usher. He was saying that his girlfriend or somebody he was intimate with had been intimate with him. So, you know what I mean? It's just, and there are gonna be these dominant narratives, but a lot of times dominant narratives persist because you don't have the right communications people in place to help construct the right narrative and to promote it. And so a lot of those artists really that we, you know, named, they really need to go back and make sure they have the right people sitting at the table to do the job.
Yeah, I'm maybe gonna take the more, I guess, bleeding heart approach, or I guess whatever you would want to call it, like SJW, whatever you want to call it, because I think that while it's important, what it's absolutely important to do is like save face as a celebrity. Like it's very important to do that, and you kind of have to do that. But on the other side of it, it's just like, be sincere. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I guess that's less of a Usher thing and more for like, so what I'm thinking about is like this cancel culture, which I think is very strong and maybe sometimes problematic. You know, I think we are kind of quick to judge some folks every now and then. But, you know, if we're talking about like the Kevin Hart situation, for example, and as far as him like doubling down twice in the span of like 2 weeks on two very like very just issues that will pull at certain people's heartstrings, you know? So whether it's the LGBT community, whether it's Native Americans, you know, it's just like twice within the course of 2 weeks, someone called you out on something and you said, no, fuck y'all, I'm good. Which, at best, is insensitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not to say that, because part of his argument is, you know, like, how many times do I need to apologize? How many times do I need to do this? How many times do I need to do that? And I think more than that,
if you stop fucking up.
And even more than that, because it's like, sure, you tweeted something 8 years ago that was homophobic. You know? I like, one, you know, to play devil's advocate, maybe that's not something that you lose a check over in 2018. You know, maybe so, maybe not. But I think that beyond that, it's just like, how do you can't control how other people treat you. All you can control is what you do with how people treat you.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you're losing your checks, or if you're, you know what I'm saying, like not getting booked or any of this stuff, do you choose to say like, you know, I don't really feel like I need to apologize. You know, I have love for that community. You know, I've grown or whatever. But again, he could have said that. It could have been something as simple as, don't feel like I need to apologize because that was a long time ago, but I've also proven myself to be somebody in this day that can say that I'm an ally for that community. Yeah. The reason why he wasn't able to do that is because he can't do that, because he's not an ally, and we don't know whether or not he's still homophobic, and we don't know what he thinks about people in that community. So it's just like, it's very easy for someone to say like, that was a long time ago, I might not feel like that, but it's that much more important for your audience to know that they know that is no longer how you feel about things. So somebody, I was having a conversation with one of my good friends earlier today, and we were talking about this cancel culture, and he brought up, you remember that song, Nasty by Destiny's Child?
Yeah.
He was like, essentially, like, Destiny's Child was like, slut shaming these women out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like policing the way that, police.
I blame Matthew because they were underage. Some girls they don't know better.
But essentially, But even beyond that, it's just like, look at what Beyonce has done for women since then. Look at the Chimamanda inclusion. Look at how in every performance, she's talking about being able to be sexual, being able to be a woman, and all that other stuff. We know she don't feel that way no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that that's no longer the case. And even if that is not necessarily consequential as to whether or not, like, the apology comes into play, to me, it's all about knowing for sure that I can support you, based on how you feel right now. And I can't say, for Kevin, like, I can't say whether or not he rocks with the community. You know?
Probably not.
Right.
I think people also have to realize that you are a full-grown adult 8 years ago, and you put sexual identity, or rather the shame of potential sexual identity, on your child. Yeah. Which his son ain't that old now. Right. So he really probably wasn't that old then.
Oh, he was probably just born or
Absolutely.
something.
So it's like...
And it's like, the first thing you say as soon as your son pops out is, damn, I hope that nigga ain't gay. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does that come from?
And what has really happened in your life since then to even force a paradigm shift for you?
Right.
Right? I think that we have to look at those things. And, I really think that a lot of people are missing the big picture on that.
Yeah, I agree.
He apologized 8 years ago. But at the same time,
it's a difference between I'm sorry, bro.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But even with that, even with saying sorry, people have to also realize that you get the right to say I'm sorry, and I get the right to say I don't accept it.
Yes.
And just because somebody said I'm sorry, that doesn't mean that all is white clean, and that we start over, at start and get $200.
And then also the sincerity of the apology.
Exactly.
Because it's one thing to say
apologize because you caught flag.
Right.
So
it's like what was the basis behind the apology?
Exactly.
Is it just like, oh, I'm sorry? Like, was it an offset apology? Or are you just trying to get away with something? Are you just, and that? Oh man, God, I'm so sorry, but it's just like, I'm apologizing to get to my goal, as opposed to me genuinely feeling like there is something that I have wronged someone else in, and I'm going to stop doing that from now on.
Boop.
Ugh.
Period.
Okay, what's next?
Let's see. I think this is a quick and easy one.
Okay.
Well, okay, it might not be easy. Hold on. It might not be quick.
Right.
What artist was in the heaviest rotation for you this year?
What artist? I wish I had Spotify so they could tell me. And I wouldn't have to think about this myself.
I do got Spotify.
Yeah,
but I don't even.
Yeah. Artist that was in the heaviest rotation for me this year.
I can't answer what you think. It's definitely been Cardi B, because Cardi B, like 2018 has been hers. Like, love it or hate it.
Yeah.
Like it or don't. But and I mean, just from everything from still bumping at the top of the year, we got the Finesse remix. You know what I'm saying? Into like, her slowly dropping singles before the album came out. Mm-hmm. Then since April, ever since April, Invasion of Privacy has probably been like the most consistent like piece of music that I would at least listen to a track from that at least once a week. Yeah. In addition to my oldies, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think as far as, so what I'm thinking about now is albums that maybe came out at the beginning of the year that I'm still listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, it would be Dirty Computer for
Okay.
me. Which, I mean, clearly we have good taste because both of those albums are nominated for Best Album of the Year.
Exactly.
But,
and guess who's not?
you don't have to keep doing that.
But it's fun at this point because I think I said 19, but it was 18. But wow, still, and none of those 18.
And 99 and a half won't do.
That almost doesn't count.
I will say though, another album that I mean, it came out later in the year, but today, right now, that I'm listening to, just kind of constantly and whenever I really need to, is that Tori Kelly album.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's very spiritually fulfilling for me.
Mm-hmm.
And in times when I'm feeling anxious or I just need to like, just sit and be, or I don't know, it just makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
You know? And it makes me feel like safe and loved and like all that other stuff. And so I will say that I listen to the album for that reason. I listen to it a lot.
And if I had to give one other person, just because you made me think about, gave me some things to think about. You just sound better than that. But I haven't listened to a lot of her this year.
Okay, yes.
Because she released 2 EPs. I've been able to see her twice in concert. And another person that's nominated for
A Grammy, same with Tori.
Yeah.
Well,
and is she nominated for Album of the Year too?
no, just Best
Right.
Gospel Album and Best Gospel Performance.
Oh, I knew Tori Kelly.
I'm sorry, you're talking about
I was
her
talking about
album of the
her.
year. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think she is. I'm pretty sure she
So
is. I think
yeah,
we talked about that.
yeah, she's been doing a lot of like really putting out a lot of really great stuff this year.
But yeah, all
Okay.
great women that
I love
have
it.
had great years, clearly.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you want to go from here?
Maybe we can. I mean, are you ready to? Do you want to do some more questions, or?
I mean, I think we can do maybe, what, 2 more?
Yeah.
2 more?
Yeah. Let's give us. Before we get to.
I
the
like
last
this one and then the last one.
Okay. Yeah. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so this second to last question is, who are your top 5 artists of all time?
I'm not gonna be able to do this.
Take a stab at it.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Know that. This is just so I'm not gonna think about it much. That's what I'm
Okay.
gonna do.
Boom.
I'm just gonna kind of go off the dome.
This is something that you just gotta
right,
dive
exactly.
in.
I just gotta go.
Head first.
So Beyonce, I love. Tank, I love. John Legend, I love.
That was an interesting sound.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Oh my God. I'm thinking that Whitney, Tisha. And you listen. That's what I'm doing. Shoot. Oh my God. So those are 3. And then in addition to those 3, I also really love. This is really hard for me.
It's okay. Take a deep breath.
It's just like this is so hard.
It's okay.
Kendrick. I'm sorry, Kendrick.
Okay.
And I'll give the last one to Janet. Okay. So, and I'm comfortable with that list. So
Okay.
who do I have? I have B, John Legend, Tank, Kendrick, and Janet.
That's a rather eclectic mix.
Yeah.
I support it.
Yeah. Can I give just a little bit of? I'm not gonna go into all 5 of them and their reasons and stuff.
Make it quick.
Yeah. I think all of those artists, perhaps. Well, maybe I don't know. The reason why I like Tank is because he's my favorite, like one of my favorite male voices vocally.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
between him and Wanye, I just.
On your list.
On my list, but everyone else, I argue. You know what I'm saying? Like John Legend is an EGOT, you know, and everybody else is just kind of legendary also.
Okay.
So yeah, but go ahead.
No worries. So there may have been a brief pause because sometimes we get other business that flies in, but we're gonna bring it right on back and pick up. Calvin shared a lot of gems, but you have to listen. That's why you gotta listen and look. Okay. But no, I think that's a very compelling list. Gosh, I felt like, you ever seen the GIF of the lady where it's like all the numbers floating?
Yeah.
That's
they did the
really
same
how
thing
I
with
felt.
Ariana.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to like do this without thinking too much about it too, and I probably won't even remember until I watch it back. So I'm going for people that impact music. I'm thinking about the lyrics, about the just longevity of their sound, all that. So that's how I'm basing my list.
Yes.
Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Beyonce.
Okay.
I had two other people that I knew I wanted to put on here. Oh my gosh.
Whitney?
Oh.
Mariah?
I gotta go Mariah.
Yeah.
I love Mariah. Oh my god, I love
Yeah.
her. I love Whitney.
Yeah.
So Whitney ain't gonna be on my list. But who was that? Okay, so I said Stevie. Mary J. Blige.
There we
That's
go.
exactly who
You're
I
such
was.
a married person.
That's exactly who I wanted to put on the list.
Okay.
So Mary, Beyonce, Stevie. Oh, did I say Kendrick?
No. You said
shit.
Stevie, you said Michael, you said Beyonce, you said Mariah, and you said Mary J.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All of the, I think, between the two of us, I think, I mean, I love all of your people.
And
you know
I
what I'm
love all
saying?
of yours.
Yeah. So both of those are solid lists.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now it's time.
You know, one of my favorite like closing songs is from. Do you remember Cedric the Entertainer when he had a sketch comedy show?
Yes.
Do you remember his ending song?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna do it for y'all at the end. Okay, and I see my as she know.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this
Yes.
question.
Oh God.
So, Brandon, what has been your fondest memory of season 1 of On That Note?
Fondest memory. Goodness. I will have to say it really is going back to that very first episode. And you captured this in the promo. Where like literally we had talked through it, we had set it up, we knew what we were gonna do. And then like we like practiced a couple of times, but then like the camera goes on and I'm just like and then you were like, you got this.
Yeah.
We did this already. You got it. And it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, boom. Like, he believes in what we're doing. I believe in what we're doing. Okay, let's do it. And so, I think for me, because I am a very sentimental person that way, like, that to me, without that moment, we couldn't have gotten a whole season 1.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah.
And that's and I'll maybe I'll think about another one, but I will talk about that moment too, because I think in that moment for me it was just a situation of, you know, I really what I really appreciate, and I think a lot of the reason why this works is because we are able to kind of like comfort each other in ways. Like I think that they're like, because if y'all knew some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on that to make this show, I think that a lot of what it boils down to is both of us at times being like, you know what, it's okay. Mm-hmm. and that's all it takes, you know. And that's why, and I remember that promo vividly, and that's why, you know, I wanted that to be it was like our second promo, because the first one was like the should we start one, but I remember that promo because I remember just being like, you know what, it's all right, you know, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna start, and it's gonna be fine. And I think that part of that was because we had done so much preparation up until that point, and I was just like, look, you know, like there's like ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we were just like turning on a microphone and talking. You know what I'm saying? Like we knew we had sections. We had, you know, like what we were going to talk about that episode. We had like a vision for the podcast. We had like all this stuff and important things to have. And I was just like, yeah, let's just do it. You know?
That is
so
wow. But just as you're preparing your home, that I think that's one of the things too that I think like thinking about like the earlier question about like how we know each other and stuff like that. I think that one of the things that even in there being a lot of similarities between us there's a lot of yin and yang too.
Yes.
Like, you know, we both have similar characteristics, but I think how it shows up is very complimentary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very perfectionist, and but I'm also very much so, I don't like to be super structured.
Yes.
Whereas Calvin probably would love more structure, but he's also like, okay, but you know, we're gonna do it like this, and we'll figure it out. Yeah. So we really play off of each other very well.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Yes, I think that that's absolutely true, and I think that yin and yang is a very good, and I've actually heard that before from other listeners who have listened to the show. But let's see, my fondest memory from this season, I think, honestly, I think it's the stuff that y'all don't hear. I think it's the stuff that y'all don't get to see. It's just like getting to where we're gonna go to record. Like it's like writing our stuff down and preparing, and I mean, you all see some of that in the promos, you know, because sometimes we press record early and we're able to kind of just like laugh and kiki and stuff like that. But I think that if my favorite moment isn't a moment from the actual show, because we do have, I mean, we have a good time, and I think that that's another reason why it works too. But I think that ultimately, like, my favorite moments recording this season were just like getting through it and knowing that just like the learning curve, you know, like being able to figure out what will work, what isn't gonna work, you know what I'm saying? And right, exactly, and still learning, you know, like what will and what won't for each of us. It's really what makes the show, and it's what makes it so that we can both sit down in these chairs and just kind of like woosah and do this thing that we both said we really, really wanted to do, and that we love doing, and that we're getting really good feedback from.
Absolutely.
You know?
We appreciate that.
Yeah, even if it's like 5 people listening every week, I know those 5 people can't get enough of what we're doing, and I don't mean to say that in a bragging way, but it just lets me know that like the idea that we had, the vision that we had is appreciated.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I think that, I hope that you all feel that we are coming in each week with the goal of giving those 5 people, or however many people, the best damn show possible.
Exactly. So. Well, y'all.
Gosh, so we only have one more.
I know we have. Yeah, we can do the run that back.
Y'all,
I
think they deserve one
they
more.
They do
For the 2018.
One time for the one time. But yeah, you can go first. Actually. I'm just gonna talk my ass off.
So no, I appreciate it. So my run that back this week is a song that I first heard on the radio maybe like a week and a half ago, and then I only caught like a little snippet, so I didn't even know who sung it. Then I eventually found it. But it's this song called "You" by Nicole Buss, and she does like I think it's like a Wu-Tang. Is that Cream?
It's Cream.
Okay, yeah, it's the Cream sample. Which to have somebody like singing and doing like this hardcore vocal over like this very prolific hip hop beat is like, whoa, first of all, that's, you know, bold. But then I like the song, and I know, actually, we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. You kind of have some thoughts on it.
I really like the song. What kind of threw me off was she did kind of sound Lauryn Hill-ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, did Lauren come back? Is she
Oh,
on
wow.
time or what? But no, it was like that, and it threw me off guard. But I really do like the song, and like you said, for her to do like Cream, like we haven't heard that since Alicia Keys when she did like Brooklyn Zoo.
Exactly.
Over that ODB
Exactly.
beat. So I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's a really dope song, and it's just I love it. I love it. And honestly, the last thing I want to say about it is yesterday morning, for some reason, I was thinking about like, what would I like to see Beyonce do next? Y'all know all roads always lead back to Beyonce. But I was like, I would love to hear Beyonce do a song like that.
Okay.
Just like
she's like
singing over like this really hard hip hop. And it's also like the level of urgency with which Nicole is singing on this song. It's like I'm singing to get the point across, not necessarily so that all my notes are super beautiful.
Okay.
But it's just a very like long, and I think that we've heard Beyonce attempt stuff like that, and I think she's dabbled her toe in that pool.
Yeah.
But I want to see her fully jump in and commit.
Okay.
I would love to hear her go over something like that. But that song right there, she don't need to take Nicole's song.
Yeah.
But that's a really great song.
Well, I'm excited to hear it. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh yeah, we're gonna play it for you.
Yeah. Okay, so my song isn't a recent song. It's an older song. It came out in 2012. But the reason why I've been listening to it is because we talked about Kelly last week.
Yeah, we did.
And we talked about her new music, which made me revisit some of her old music.
Okay.
And so she had a song that was on the Think Like a Man soundtrack, shout out to Kevin Hart. But so she had a song called Need a Reason with Future and B Major.
Where the hell is B Major?
I know.
Also, is a fine day
yeah,
B Major.
Exactly. Also, sidetrack for a second. The thing that was so crazy to me when I was thinking about this, do you remember when Future was really nothing more than a crooner over female R&B tracks? Isn't that such a crazy thing to think about? So in 2012 he does this song with Kelly, and that same year he did Love Song with Rihanna.
Yeah.
He comes through with that little joint he did for Sierra. You
gotta stop warning me. Gotta stop warning me.
So he does that over Body Party, and that was really what Future was doing. He wasn't really he rapping, you know what I'm saying, like that. He was
does he ever really rap?
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? He definitely wasn't on the wave that he's on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was interesting. But beyond that, this song is just a really good. The reason why I like it so much is it's just a song that's so very uniquely Kelly. It's just like a Kelly song, and we don't get a whole lot of that because she doesn't make a lot of music. And that was my critique of this Kelly song, because even though it's titled after her, it doesn't feel like her very much, at least to me.
Yeah, I can see it.
Or at least her sound, and it's just I feel like if there was a world where Kelly was able to make a song, this would be the song. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's it.
Okay. Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, now to give you my Cedric the Entertainer outro. Now it's time to say goodbye. We sure had fun entertaining y'all. Till the next time, or maybe the next show, I'll see you. When I see you, I'll holler. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Bye, y'all. Thanks for a great first season.
All right, see you.